Welcome to Group 11's 2023 Annual Investor Meeting. Our meeting today is of paramount importance, and we're excited that you have joined us and given us your utmost attention. 2022 has been a challenging year for the economy in general and the tech sector in particular, which requires reflection and analysis. When certain sought-after public securities, once considered a safe harbor and store of value, like Apple, Google, Microsoft, and Salesforce, drove 30% to 50%, and when formidable unicorns such as Stripe, Instacart, and Klarna dropped 34% to 86% within a year, soul-searching is indeed required. When considering all of this, one may ask, was Group 11's top decile performance to date an illusion, bolstered by low interest rates and the hype we warned you about for the past few years? Or did our growth in value actually have merit? Did we make valid investment decisions? My team and I will answer these questions throughout today's session. When putting together the agenda for today, I distilled our thoughts into three fundamental questions. The first question is macroeconomic in nature. Is there a gap between the story we tell ourselves about the economy and the actual fundamentals of our economy? In particular, is the economy weak to the extent we're soon to witness a recession, or rather is the economy strong and is simply recalibrating after an unprecedented money supply increase in response to a global pandemic? The second fundamental question is looking outward into the future. What is the true North Star of our economy, and what is the true North Star of the tech sector in particular? This will not only inform our future and evolving investment thesis, but also will help in deciding whether our existing portfolio remains relevant in this ever-changing kaleidoscope of inputs. The third fundamental question requires us to look inwards, into past investment decisions we have made. Namely, to what extent is our portfolio performing, and what is the ultimate outcome we predict for each of our companies? Going forward, our answers to these three fundamental questions will be directional and technical. Directional meaning, did we invest in the right sector, right business propositions, considering the tectonic plates of our economy are now shifting? Technical meaning, what are the main KPIs of each of our portfolio companies, and to what extent do they fare going into the future? Stated differently, can our top performers continue growing? Can our laggers survive and ultimately thrive? This is not a regular meeting with a general portfolio overview. This meeting aims not only to review the work we have done to date, to properly allocate your capital, but also it sets us up for the next decade. Why the next decade, you may ask? Well, the answer is rather simple. New investments we make today will require about 7 to 8 years on average to reach category-defining status. That's simply how long it takes. As it pertains to our existing portfolio, the next few years will be very telling with respect to how many of our companies will transition from the private markets to the public market. So, if you're wondering why we have a futurist and an economist essentially on staff, here's your answer. We are already thinking about 2030. The present does matter, but it matters from a cash flow and liquidity perspective. The future matters from a market domination perspective. A balancing act of futurism and pragmatism is, in our view, the root of Group 11's past and future success. It is my hope that at the end of our time together today, we will be fully aligned on a massive opportunity that lies ahead of us in the coming years. Warren Buffett once said, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful." A quote that is very fitting considering the doom and gloom sentiment amongst most investors today. Our agenda today follows the same three fundamental questions I've just outlined. Professor Chris Thornberg, a world-renowned economist, will speak with us today about the quixotic Fed policy and why we're all at an imminent risk of survival. Roxanne Gugin, Group 11's chief futurist, will discuss the necessary transition we ought to make in order to move from remote consumption in a controlled environment to local production in a chaotic environment. I will then follow and speak about our journey to date, the trends we're seeing in the venture capital asset class, and the investment themes for which we aim to allocate capital. Hadass Parfeld, our CFO/COO, will touch upon the portfolio performance and offer guidance related to the timing of mandatory performance reports and audits. Lian Kimia, who heads our value creation efforts, will share some stats and case studies from our value creation efforts which are pertinent to the success of our existing portfolio. Devin Morris, who heads our due diligence efforts, and our investment analysts Jem Bashar and Jake Temkin, will then offer an overview and KPIs of our portfolio companies to date, along with guidance for the next 24 months. I will offer our closing remarks and answer any remaining questions you may have at the end of the event. So let's get to it.